You know what? I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills this week, -5.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Bills obviously coming off a very, very nasty loss against the Miami Dolphins in week 10 on the road. But I like backing teams to get in those kind of get right spots. And I think that's one of the reasons we, did like the Lions this past week. Or yeah, I would say against the Commanders, where they were coming off an ugly loss against the Minnesota Vikings and where they were a big favorite. And a lot of people talked about it could have been a look at spot for the Lions for this upcoming week because they do face the Eagles on prime time, but it was a get right spot. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are another team that are dealing with a lot of injuries, both in the running back room and also at the wide receiver position, right? We don't know if Chris Godwin is going to be back. And it's been a lot of plug and play guys. The two Johnsons on the outside of Ibuka, who's been very consistent for this team. And they haven't really gotten much out of Rachaad White, who's tried to fill in for Bucky Irving. Seems like Sean Tucker is starting to take over as the lead back there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Baker Mayfield, prior to all the injuries that this Buccaneers team was dealing with, he was in that MVP conversation. Obviously, that's fallen off after they've taken a couple losses here. But you could also, tell this Bills team that are they fraudulent? And, after beating the Chiefs and then dropping the games against Miami, who everybody had written off for the remainder of the season, they absolutely made easy work of this Buffalo Bills team. But, this is a spot where I think they can bounce back here and get right spot here. Being at home, I think a lot of it is going to be on the shoulders of Josh Allen. But the one bright spot for this team has been James Cook. And I think that they will just ground and pound against his Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. The Bucs, obviously, in that division in the NFC South, where I don't want to say they're running away with it, but the Saints are the Saints. Falcons are turning out to be a little bit of a fraudulent team. And then who am I forgetting now? The Panthers, who took a loss to the New Orleans Saints at home by 10 points, where they were favored by, I believe, by 5.5 points here. So I like the bounce back spot here for Bills in a get right spot. I think next week for this Buffalo Bills team, looking at their schedule, they're going to be on a short week going into Houston. In fact, maybe I'll try to get out to that game there, but I like the Bills laying the points here, Uncle Dave, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the whole Northeast and especially New York and Buffalo, you're going to have some weather this weekend. And Buffalo's supposed to be chilly. It might rain, and it's going to be very windy there. So, I mean, clearly that favors the team with the best rushing attack in the league, which, as we know, would be the Bills. And, you can look at last week's final score all you want, but Kevin Cole's adjusted score actually had Buffalo, I think, winning by one, not losing by 17. So a bit of an outlier there. And the Buffalo defense, they've allowed some huge plays, but the question is, can the Bucs offense exploit it? I think statistically they can in a dome or in Tampa Bay, but we're not playing in either one of those. We're talking about a Bucs team, as you mentioned, struggle to run the ball without Irving. Won't have Evans. Godwin is still a giant mystery. And Baker's had to throw the ball 43 or more times in two of his last three games, which is directly a result of not being able to run the ball. And while I know he's only thrown two picks this season, he hasn't had to play in this weather. And not only are the Bills more used to that, but Allen might not have to have the ball in the air with that ground game. And having said that, I do love Allen over rushing props, but this game, and you kind of mentioned it, it's not nearly as important to the Bucs. I mean, it's not unimportant, but they'll be favored in all their remaining games except next week against the Rams. So yeah, they are pretty much in cruise control for the NFC South, and the Bills need wins badly, especially after that debacle in Miami. And while I kind of hate to bet on teams that need or have to have that get right game, I think the weather is just too much for the Bucs to overcome. So I'm with you on the Bills, Munaf.
Any thoughts on the Bills here, Mac?
I'm kind of regretting my Giants pick. I feel like Dave has a secret source on that East Coast weather. He's getting the insider info that I was not currently abreast of. So yeah, that's why we love Uncle Dave. He's got all the sources. He's got everything mapped out. By the way, love the Kevin Cole as someone that tracks it for RJ every week. Love the Kevin Cole adjusted scores shout out. So smooth. Indeed, it was a very close game by that metric. Maybe misrepresented in the box score.
Yeah, and also the Bills obviously looking up at the Patriots in the standings there. So again, every game is going to matter for them going forward here. And for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, like Uncle Dave mentioned, their schedule, it's pretty easy down the stretch, and they still have some division games in there as well. And as bad as that NFC South has been, I mean, honestly, really the only competition may just be the Carolina Panthers. But how much faith do you want to really put into that team? Just from a basic stats perspective, 3 of the 4 teams, the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Saints, all have a negative point differential. The only team that does have a positive one is the 6-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at plus 14 there. So, take that for what it's worth.